Wonderful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome, sir.
Like I said, my name is Jeff Gagne, and let's go right into the screen share as I talk a little bit more about myself in my little slide. And just so we don't, I'm actually going to keep my slides like this instead of going full view because it makes the switching out a little bit easier so I don't lose everybody. So we are searching for life, a Cryobot mission to Jupiter's icy moon, Europa. First things first, who am I and why are you listening? I'm Jeff. Jeff Gagne. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And actually, I like to work backwards on this slide. I am a former Air Force officer who was a financial manager in the Air Force, did 7 years active duty, did 4 years civil service, and then decided it was time to do other things. So I started working I actually started volunteering first at the Space Foundation Discovery Center here in Colorado Springs. And I now work there full time. That's my day job as a space education specialist at the Space Foundation and Space Foundation Discovery Center. Here in Colorado Springs, actually on the campus of my daughter's elementary school, I am the director of the Starlight Observatory. So we have a dome and a beautiful 10-inch Maxitov Newtonian that I took over just in time for the 2017 solar eclipse. So we got glasses for the entire school and we brought 500 kids out to see it. That was super fun. And like I said, the Space Foundation is my day job. When I am not there, I run Zach and Zoe Adventures. My daughter is named Zoe. She's 9 and she wants to be an astronaut. And after a heart scare that almost put me down, I decided to switch careers and do something that I could leave for her. So I wrote my first book, which is called Field Trip to the Discovery Center, which is all about Zoe's field trip to our museum. The book was so popular, I turned it into a trilogy of books: Field Trip, Best Project, and Reach for the Stars. And then because creating a children's book is such a lengthy process, and I'm not an artist, nobody wants to see that. So it takes a lot of artwork to get a children's book filled. Zoe and I decided that we would also create a magazine. And it started out as a monthly magazine. We now produce 9 issues a year called STEM to Bloom. And my most recent one is all about Mars. For February, I have partnered with Lowell Observatory for the 90th anniversary last February, the 90th anniversary of the discovery of Pluto. We are just about to publish our 30th issue of that magazine, which is actually for our kids in Pakistan. So that has been a whole lot of fun for us. And that leads us to all of my teaching. I have just been very lucky that as I've started teaching space and STEM topics, I have had ideas pop into my head. Don't know why other teachers have asked me, how do you come up with these things? And I really don't know, because what you see here today, there's going to be 2 things. I've got the main activity for Europa and a bonus that we're going to do to see if I can show you guys me getting messy for this, since it's an afternoon session. I really don't know where these come from, but the ideas just pop into my head. But it goes along with Carl Sagan's quote of somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. And for us today, that is Europa. If you are on this, if you're in this session, you know about Europa, Jupiter's icy moon. It is an ice ball covering a liquid ocean, covering a solid rocky moon, which is being pulled by the gravity of Jupiter, which keeps that liquid ocean liquid. And NASA, for decades, has been following the water to search for signs of life. And liquid water is, while water is abundant throughout the solar system in its many forms, liquid water is not abundant in the solar system. So NASA has created the Europa Clipper mission, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. It has been confirmed, so the Europa Clipper will be a mission. It's an orbiter. You can see it on the screen right here. It is targeted for the mid-20s, and it's to search for conditions of life to eventually send a lander to Europa to be able to get to that liquid ocean underneath that icy crust. So that is our main mission today. Before I go too much farther, my picture of the Europa Clipper is actually my self-reminder. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. I'm going to get back on because, like I said, we're going to have some fun because this is an afternoon session. And I appreciate you guys sticking with us the whole day to join mine. You guys are all space and science geeks like me. You know what Orbeez are. These are the little beads that grow in water. So I have a giveaway for 2 things today. And both of them will be based on guesses of how many Orbeez I have in my 2 jars. This is a water jug. This is just an empty water bottle. This is a 1 liter water bottle filled with Orbeez. I know everybody likes to see the shape. There's a little thing down the bottom there. And then if you guys can see over my shoulder, I actually have a 64-ounce water bottle filled with Orbeez as well. And just so you guys don't think I am playing favorites, I will not show you what they are, but I have this piece of paper over here on which are already written the answers. And the winners of those 2 guesses, so you guys can put your guesses in the chat, and we'll pick the winners right at the end, or I'll announce the winners right at the end. We're not picking because it's going to be closest guesses to the numbers. What I have been doing is I have been having some 3D printing fun. So one of the winners is going to get, and I'm going to use this white piece of paper so you can see it better. One of the winners is going to get mailed a 3D printed Europa Clipper. So this is actually the spaceship that is going as the Europa Clipper to Europa to orbit. And this one is not super glued together, so the solar panels actually move around on this one. So this is pretty cool. That's the first one. And the other one that everybody has been loving is, because it's February and we are loving the Mars rover, this is a full-blown Curiosity rover all the way in with the mast cam and the tool kit. This one is the Curiosity rover, just based on the wheel design, but looks just like Perseverance. And we will be picking the winners or announcing the winners at the end. Those are my 2 prizes. I will mail those out immediately, nice and safely. Yay for packing peanuts. So we're doing that because we are having an afternoon session. And teachers like free stuff, and kids aren't the only ones that get to do contests. So I'm back onto my screen share. The Europa Clipper mission is just going to be an orbiter, but it's an orbiter with the purpose of finding suitable places for a lander to land so that we can send a cryobot, a lander, and then getting a cryobot through that icy crust of Europa into the liquid ocean to search for signs of life or potentially life itself. Now, again, you guys are all space and science teachers. We're all space educators here. We have all done whether you call it the moon lander or the Mars lander, we have all done this challenge. And I dare say most of our students have done this challenge. So when I was thinking about how I could level up this lander challenge for students of all ages, not just making it a robotic lander, adding things like that, I just happened to be studying the Europa Clipper for an issue of my STEM to Bloom magazine. And I came up with the idea of creating a Europa lander where how would calling the lander instead of a moon lander or a Mars lander, calling it a Europa lander. But then I didn't get any farther on how to, that's no different than what we've already been doing until I saw this picture. And I'm sure you guys have seen this picture. If not for Europa, you guys have seen this for other worlds, whether it be the Earth, the sun, or whatever. But this is a standard cross section of a celestial body. So this is the icy world Europa. We are used to seeing the outer shell from the photos, which are gorgeous. But when I saw this cross section, and our students see lots of these, we as educators see lots of these, I was like, I wonder if there would be a way to create an activity to make this cross section so that we could actually melt something through the icy crust of Europa and get a cryobot, quote unquote cryobot, into that liquid ocean of Europa. So that's exactly what I did. So I got lucky and this came to me. So I'm going to show you guys the pictures and then we're going to jump right in, and I am actually going to do it. But I used a clear plastic cup. This entire activity, I noticed the links weren't on my page for this event, but they are attached to my bio for being a speaker. And I'll make sure everybody gets these, but everything you see is there in those documents as well as my email. Please feel free to contact me directly. But I took a clear plastic cup and I added some sand, added a liquid ocean, and put an icy crust on it. These are the directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. See if I can switch over to speaker view. Gallery there. So I have my clear plastic cup. So this is my 3D cross section. I need some Europa moon. So I have sand. Boom. I have my solid moon. I'm going to show you guys as best I can. My studio lighting is not set up super well in my kitchen. Please forgive. I have liquid water for that liquid water ocean. The slower you pour, the less cloudy your ocean is going to get. Based on the beach sand that I happen to have, it actually does not get super cloudy as is, but you'll notice it gets cloudy and then settles. So you remember that picture, we can see we have our Europa moon and we have our Europa liquid ocean, our liquid water ocean. So how do we get that icy crust? And getting that icy crust only costs us $1. You go to the dollar store and you get shaved foam. Gel doesn't work. Get that shaved foam, but give it a real good shake. You don't want that drippy stuff to come out. That makes your ocean really cloudy and gives you a bad end effect. So shake it up really good. You want to cover your liquid ocean with just enough shaving foam that you can take a popsicle stick, a tongue depressor, plastic spoon, and then what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to tilt this down so you guys can see, I'm not completely covered underneath. There we go. I'm not completely covered on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth out and I'm going to spread that shave foam so that it seals all the way around the top. So just like Europa or Enceladus, Saturn's icy moon, so that that liquid ocean is now completely covered by what will be a frozen surface. So here we go back. Notice we already have a beautiful cross section right there. So now my lovely off-camera helper, my wife happens to be home. I have what you do it's in the instructions. You take this and you put it in the freezer. Now I'm going to give you an option if you don't have a freezer, but we're going to start with you put this in the freezer, and here is where some experimenting can come in. You want to experiment with how long you keep it in the freezer, because obviously right away your marble or your Cryobot, haven't gotten there yet, is going to sink right through shaving foam. Is going to sink right through shaving foam. So we want to get an icy crust. If you put it in the freezer, you will get that icy crust. Now, that's what I was doing, both with Zach and Zoe activities and with my work at the Space Foundation. We have a freezer in the building, so I was able to plan and put these in the freezer. Great way to do this with a class is you start the class by creating this with the shave foam at the top, and then you transport them all to the freezer because you want them in the freezer for about 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how frozen you want that shave foam. After that, the water, the ocean itself will start to freeze as well. And one of the first things that freezes is the surface right at the top. So their Cryobot won't melt all the way down into the liquid ocean, which is a really cool effect for them, especially with the video. So I have put three separate into my freezer at home, regular stand-up side-by-side freezer. I am at 0 degrees here. If you have so you guys can see, this is where, thank you, babe. This is where shave foam is when it first comes out of the can, just wiping off there. This one has been in, is this the 10 minutes? 5 minutes. This is my 5 minute. This is my 15. This is 20 minutes, sorry. This is 20 minutes, but you guys can see there is a solid top to it. So I'm actually going to tilt down just so that can stay. In my coffee mug right here, I have plain water with marbles, plain everyday marbles. I have microwaved the water. I'm going to take a marble and I'm going to place it on my Europa. And you guys will notice that it starts to melt on through. So I'm asking for my other ones that have been in a little bit longer. Notice that that one is going. I will tell you that, look at that. Okay, so this one has been in a little bit longer, so almost a half an hour right here. I'm gonna get another marble. Forgive my face for not being on the screen, but we're gonna get another marble. I'm gonna leave it right there. I will tell you that this makes for excellent video opportunities for them to review, and especially slow-mo video. Even though it seems like this is going super fast, and you wouldn't want to go slow-mo any more than that, I'm gonna hold this one up as it finishes, and I want you to watch what happens as it goes into that liquid ocean with the shave foam. It just disappeared, boom. So the shave foam goes down with it, and then it melts off of your marble, which is your Cryobot, and then your Cryobot is in the liquid ocean. So this is my third and final. This is a 35-minute. I'll go ahead and hold this one here. Again, kids have loved doing the slow motion video on this to watch both when it disappears and when it reappears into the liquid ocean underneath. And they have found it, they were actually the ones that pointed out to me how the shave foam, once it gets into the liquid ocean, melts off of. I'll tilt this down to show you guys a little better. It forms this beautiful crater, but then watch that. There you go, look at that. And that is a beautiful, cool thing. But then we are not done there. That's the bulk of the activity. So again, I had, my first one was about 20 minutes, the second one 30, the third one 35. But I want to show you the difference in the craters that are left up top. And then this one is actually beautiful. This was my first one, so this was the least melty, but look at that beautiful crater right there. And then when you think about the fact that your Cryobot, your rover, let me pick the red one, it's easier to see. Your Cryobot is going to be in the liquid ocean of Europa or Enceladus, but for now Europa, because they have the Europa Clipper. The kids notice, some kids notice this right away, or you can point out that, notice that when the crater closes up, the smarter students, or the ones that are using their cell phones the most, will say, Mr. Jeff, how is our rover going to communicate back to the Earth if it is stuck under the ice in the water and the crater seals itself over. And that's where I have a different worksheet if I'm in class, or I just have a conversation with the students or kids I'm working with Zach and Zoe, on how we could solve that problem. Is the Cryobot going to need something on the way down that sort of seals that ice down that column as it goes in so that there's still open water? Obviously, it's in space up at the top. Eventually, the top is going to freeze over. So potentially, would the lander that carries this Cryobot have a heating unit that would keep it? But if the lander has a heating unit, isn't the whole lander going to sink in? Might there be a tether that warms up that goes through with the Cryobot? And so far, that's been the most popular answer, that a tether would go through. And the Cryobot would be able to communicate through that, as it would have a cable and a beacon underneath to communicate with. So this is the basics of the Cryobot Mission to Europa activity. I leave it to all of you. I have learned so much from SEEC educators, and this is only my second year. I am in awe of you guys, and I have learned so much from you that you guys don't need me to list out all of the things that you could add with this. Obviously, my lesson will have everything that I use with it. I'll be sharing obviously, you guys get those. But I would love to know if you guys come up with any additional ways of adding to this. So I told you we have a freezer here at home, since we're doing this virtually. Last year at SEEC was the first time I had to do this on the road. And while my classroom in the building out back had a microwave, so I could heat up my marble cryobots, they didn't have access for a freezer for me. So I was trying to figure out how could I do this? I just saw the question, Fernando. Yes, you can use plain dirt. You actually don't even need to have dirt on the bottom. I just like to do it because it makes a really good 3D cross section, which looks exactly like the pictures that we see. But I came up with the on-the-go solution, which is canned air. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have done this before, but if you've ever used canned air for something, when you use canned air upright, which is the way the manufacturer says to, it comes out as regular air, a little bit cooler than room temperature. However, don't shake these cans. However, when you turn canned air upside down, it comes out super cold. So if you get your students to create the initial 3D cross-section model of your sand or dirt, your liquid ocean, and then again, this one is my one I created, which is shade foam straight out of the can. You can have them upside down, or you can do it yourselves. Definitely use gloves on your hands. Gloves, safety glasses, you guys know all that stuff. But you can use this and you can actually freeze. Notice that's already getting a little bit harder to the touch and not much is coming off. You can actually freeze the top. It won't freeze the whole layer, but you can freeze the top and still do this as a full activity out on the road, as long as you can have some hot water, which, by the way, a nice travel coffee mug with hot water in it, bam, you have your heated marbles for your cryobots. You can take this whole thing on the road. I'm gonna go back to screen sharing for just a moment because I do have two, and then I'll be back. We are not done. Whoops, screen share is over here. We're going to go back to sharing my slides so you have a better understanding of what these pictures are now. So when you guys get that, so there are two what I call level ups. Now, first level up is if you happen to have a larger tank of water that you would like to, like a small fish tank, and you wanted to do this, there are tiny submarines that are about 3 inches long, called micro subs, that you could actually get for your classroom. And then so they'd have to figure out how to protect that micro RC sub from going through the shave cream. And then once it goes through, how is the RC sub able to get out of its protection and then and then swim around so they could control it there. And then the second level up is actually one I like even a little bit more, is you create an entire classroom full of these, but I don't know if you guys are aware, students love tardigrades. It seems like we all love tardigrades. Did you know that you can buy a tardigrade for $14 on the internet and it will be sent to you? I have not yet done this one. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but you can create an entire lineup of 3D cross sections, have them do the exact same activity, and then afterwards, you can have them study the water and search for which ones have signs of life, which is an exact mission to Europa for finding out which cups of water, which of their 3D model cross sections have the tardigrades in them. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again. I'm going to come back so I can see this, so you guys can see me and I can see the chat going on. So the canned air is turned upside down, is how you can get the top frozen when you are traveling and you don't have a freezer either at home or at school to get a nice solid surface. And those two level ups are a great way to expand this lesson from just the 3D cross section into bioscience, searching for that signs of life, bioengineering robotic engineering for the RC subs, if you were to get one of those and then have them control it. Obviously, if you get a big enough tank and you do this using the canned air to make a crust on top, you can put goals in the water underneath. Okay, you now have to get your little RC sub through a ring that you put in the water, something like that. That's our goal for where we want to search for life. So I really like this activity, as have other people that have seen it. This has been a lot of fun for me. Now, one thing that I wanted to add before we get to our answers, as I scroll back up here, before we get to our answers, thank you, babe. When I did this last year for SEEC and we used the canned air, I started thinking, how else could I use this ability to instantly freeze basic things, basic soft things, so we don't always need to use liquid nitrogen. I'm sure a lot of us have used liquid nitrogen, but it's a pain in the butt. There's so much safety that goes along with it. We always have to go get it. We don't always have it. It's really hard to travel with, etc. What other activities could I figure out for this? So now this has nothing to do with Europa, but I have a second activity you can do just using the same canned air coldness, which is a plate tectonics activity. I have a simple basic balloon. Dry ice, I haven't tried yet, Miss Ruth, but I have a simple basic balloon and I have some melty chocolate, and that's it. It just came out of the microwave. I don't want it too hot because this is where I make a mess. The balloon will explode. Get the balloon started, maybe about half to a little under halfway. Then dunk your balloon in the end of your balloon. Notice I didn't tie it off, and get a nice chocolate coating over on the other side of it, over on the end. You guys see that? Take a look at that. Very good. I didn't tie this off. You can't tie it. You need to do this. So you really need the gloves to do this. I just don't have mine on now, but please be safe when you're doing this. but we are going to make some plate tectonics. I've got my canned air. I'm going to go upside down. I'm going to go as far away as I can. Hopefully you guys can see that. And my can is almost out. But I now have a frozen Pangea on my balloon. And we are really going to hope this works without doing it right over my keyboard. But when you continue to blow into the balloon, you want to have a student or somebody video this, both in regular time and slow-mo again. Check this out. Watch the chocolate. Watch our Pangea. All of a sudden, you now have continental drift. Check that out. So you could have them checking out. Whoops, that one fell off because I tilted my balloon. So you can study this. Studying on the video is a lot easier, but also notice when you, as the instructor, releases the air from the balloon, watch what happens to our continental drift again. And imagine in slow-mo video, watch how the chocolate pieces crumble together and form mountains. Boom. You now have plate tectonics and a whole geology lesson as well from a can of air you got from Staples. Click the easy button. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, got chocolate on my computer. Dell does not recommend that. Whoops. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or type it in. I'm actually going to scroll up. And if you guys remember, maybe you guys can help me out just to make this quicker. Notice I wasn't writing anything. I already had answers. There you go. The larger jar for our giveaways had 898, and my smaller jar had 373. If you were closer, go ahead and comment on that again. There was just a whole bunch of guesses over here, so I got to do a little bit of scrolling. Jody or Ruth, I know
while
you
you're
guys
scrolling, Jeff, who gets to lick the planet when you're done?
I will give you one warning. Canned air, when it comes out, tastes horrible. So only one student will ever want to lick the planet, because I didn't even lick the planet. All I did was spray it in my general area, and I can taste it on my tongue right now. This stuff tastes terrible. You just got to get them to not lick the balloon before they spray, because that's just regular chocolate. So I'm scrolling. Shannon, I see 346 and 830. Do I have anybody closer than 346 and 830? Let me scroll back up to numbers. 415. Got to do my math. 346 or 415. Were there any other questions? 348 is Fernando. I am scrolling. Forgive me, everybody. 358 is Lori Orth. 358 on the smaller one. And it looks like, oops, what was the 800? Shucks. I lost it, everybody. Forgive me. Miss Shannon, what was your larger guess? I'm going to tell you, you guys are pretty good at guessing. There's a lot of close. And 830, that's what it was. 830, so it looks like 358 for Lori Orth is the, you know what? I'll actually let you guys tell me which ones you want. Because I have multiples. So if you both want a Europa clipper, go ahead and leave a comment. So Lori Orth was the winner for the smaller jar. This one is 373. My jar over on the shelf was 898. Let me know if you would like a Mars rover.
Hey, Jeff, this is
Yes.
Lori. I would
Hi,
love
Lori.
it. I would love it, but my guess was 137 for the small and 358 for the large. So I don't think
Oh, okay.
so that it should go to somebody else.
Oh, forgive me. Thank you, Miss Lori. How honest. I had a guess of 348. So I'm going to find 348. That was the large. Miss Shannon, you are the winner of both. Wow, oh wow. And by the way, that reminds me, I need to give a shout out to Jen and Shannon. Since you both, your session earlier was awesome, loved it. And you both won things from the Neutral Buoyancy Lab class session. So you guys are on a roll right now. So Miss Shannon, if you would send me an email, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen one more time for I'm gonna leave this up for 2 minutes and then my face will be back. This is me, jeffgagne@gmail.com. My website for all things Zach and Zoe is stemtobloom.com, which is the name of our magazine. And then if you find me on social media @JeffGagne, you will then find that I have Zach and Zoe or Space with Zach and Zoe on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But the easiest way, just find me at Jeff Gagne or shoot me an email at that email address right there. And I am always happy to talk to others. I do is secret. So I love sharing with you guys. The magazine is for elementary age. 6 to 12 is the range that gets it right now, that we mail out to. 8 to 10 is sort of that target perfect range that love the magazine. So I'm just going to check I see a question. Ashley Smith, you came late. The Europa Clipper on Thingiverse? Yes. That is, this Europa Clipper is a design from Thingiverse for 3D printing. However, it is not called the Europa Clipper. But if you put in, I want to say I searched for Jupiter spacecraft, and that's when I found this one. Or maybe Europa spacecraft, but don't use the word Clipper. Thingiverse didn't like that. It actually says Europa right on it. This one's pretty cool. If there are, we are at my time, 2:57, which is 3:57, 3 minutes left here. That was it for me, and that is it for my 45-minute session here at SEEC 2021. I truly appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to stay on until our Jody and Ruth. Thank you guys so much. You guys rock, and you guys know I love you. Those are my coworkers. And I really appreciate all the comments, everybody. Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, please feel free. I'm going to stay as long as our moderator leaves this one open. As soon as Miss Lori closes us up, then I will be on my email and happy to answer anything.
Sorry, Jeff. May I have a quick look at the last slide? You showed the one right before your contact information, please, real quick.
Absolutely.
While you're looking at the slide, I do want to say thank you, Jeff, for being here and presenting with us. It has been awesome. I've loved everything that you've shared. I do want to remind everyone that these will be on demand. Give us about 24 to 48 hours, and you will be able to come back and see all these wonderful things. Any of the ones that you didn't get to see will be here, and they'll be here for a year. And Jeff, this is just phenomenal. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Miss Lori. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I had a blast. I have loved making this one. And I will tell you, for anyone that hasn't left, when I do this in a full class of 30 kids, you would think they would want to make more of a mess out of doing this. And they really don't. They actually, putting the whole thing together, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Fernando, if you got what you needed?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. I've done this in a full class of 30 students, granted with not a carpeted classroom. Occasionally there's some Occasionally there's some problems. Another thing you can do while we have a minute left before Miss Lori closes me up. Excuse me, everybody. I'm gonna get if I can find my spoon. Ooh, can't find my spoon. Oh, find my spoon. What you can do to have them redo their activity, when kids want to do it again. If you pull out their marble, nice and easy from the side like that, you will be able to keep, obviously this has been out for a little while and gotten melty, but you can then close it up again, piece of cake. And if you happen to still have that canned air, they can, if they're getting a little too melty, even if you already used the freezer, you can go ahead, and it looks like my can of air is almost done. So I am freezing the top. And again, my can of air is pretty well done. So that one didn't freeze up, but then the kids can do it again. You can also add math calculations on how long it takes to melt, to melt the Cryobot to melt through. You can test out almost all of my shaving cream layers, my icy crusts, were the same thickness. You can obviously test out a really thin versus a really thick one. And again, you don't even need you can just have water in a cup. It makes a cool splash at the bottom. And then the shaving foam that melts, the shaving foam actually sort of explodes when it hits the bottom of the cup and then sort of melts off the way I showed you guys earlier. But this has been a lot of fun. And it's just, absolutely.
We're going to let you go. You have a great day, everybody.
Thank you
See y'all
very
soon.
much.
That was awesome.
Everybody.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Truly appreciate it. Reach out if you have anything.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Thank
It
you.
was.